The Cincinnati Bearcats lose a game Saturday night that they had no business losing, but it's also a missed opportunity. Plus, a look ahead to this week's 3 games in 6 days. That coming up on today's episode of Locked On Bearcats.
You are Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you so much for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen of every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. My name is Alex Frank, welcoming you to today's episode of Locked On Bearcats. Cincinnati falls to Tulsa 83-77 on Saturday night in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This game, the Bearcats had no business losing. This is bad. I mean, this is really bad. I'll just run through the numbers in this segment. By the way, Cincinnati, I mean, this is a huge box score. They played 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different players in this game. 11 different players in this game. Cincinnati did not shoot the ball well at all. They were just 28 of 74 from the floor. Second half was, 13 of 34 and 15 of 40. 3-point range, they were 12 of 36, so too many threes. They were 9 of 13 from the line, not that great either. 26 points in the paint, just 6 points off turnovers, 9 fast break points, 24 points off the bench. Here's the other thing, though. Here's a big thing. The score was only tied one time, and there were no lead changes. No lead changes. So the Bearcats never led in the game. How do you not lead against a team that is 1-10 coming into the game in conference play? 1-10. 7-15 overall, 1-10 in conference play. A team that you had just beaten just over 3 weeks ago by 21 points on your home floor. Waxed them. Well, guess what? This game is in college basketball is so interesting. I mean, you saw UCLA beat Arizona earlier this season at Pauley Pavilion by 20. Arizona returned the favor at the McHale Center just a few weeks later. And Arizona handled them. So this game, you never know. This is conference play, but this is a team that's 1-10. This is a team that is just not very good. You wiped the floor against them the last time. Individual numbers for Cincinnati. David DeJulius, once again, I tell you what, man, he is single-handedly giving this Bearcats team a chance to win every single game. That's the thing. These Bearcats can win any game they play. They also can lose any game they play. David DeJulius, 23 points, 9 of 20 from the floor, 3 of 8 from 3, 31 minutes of play. Jeremiah Davenport, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 of 12 from the floor. Solid night for him. Micah Adams-Woods, rough night shooting, 10 points, 5 rebounds, did contribute there, 30 minutes of play. Mason Madsen with 9 points on 3 threes off the bench. Hayden Koval with 5 points, 7 rebounds off the bench. That's good. Victor Locken chipped in 2 points off the bench. Mike Saunders Jr. with 8 points off the bench, 3 of 6 from the floor. The Bearcats, 9 assists to 9 turnovers, pulled down 40 rebounds. But then you go to Tulsa, who, by the way, only played 9 players. So they played 2 fewer players. But here you go. Jeriah Horn, feels like he's been there for 20 years. 21 points, 9 of 17 from the floor, 9 rebounds. Darian Jackson, feel like he's been there forever. 21 points, 8 of 10 from the floor, very efficient. Made both of his 3-point attempts. 5 rebounds. Ray Idowu, he's been there for a long time. 14 points, 5 of 7 from the floor. And then Anthony Pritchard, 11 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. Near triple-double, 4 of 12 from the floor. And then off the bench, Sam Griffin, 9 points, 3 of 11 from the floor. It's not like Tulsa had so many different players score. They had 2 players score 21 points. 2 more players combined for 25 points. 42 points combined, and then 25. They only scored 16 other more points. And then you get to their They had 14 assists to 12 turnovers. Jariah Horn had 5, but Tulsa was very efficient. They were 32 of 61 from the floor. They shot over 50% from the field in both halves. 16 of 31 in the first half, 16 of 30 in the second half. 3 of 7 from three-point range in the first half, only 2 of 9 in the second half, but still the damage was done. 44 points in the paint, 10 points off turnovers, 12 second chance points, 9 fast break points. And this is a game, they out-rebounded the Bearcats by 1. They had 14 assists to 12 turnovers, 10 from Anthony Pritchard. This is a bad loss. This is a horrible loss. Let's say you know what? Let me get to this live read. A little shorter show today. So much happening in Cincinnati. The Bearcats got 3 games later this week. More on that throughout the week. Tomorrow's show is going to be a recap of tonight's game against Memphis, which is ultra important. We'll also have a preview of the game Thursday against Wichita State. Recap that game Friday, look ahead to Temple. So a lot of basketball coming up. We are less than a month away from Selection Sunday. So more on the game here after this word from betonline.net. Because football might be over for the season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yes, I am doing this right. I'm recording this, making sure that everything is correct. Football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fire coach is going to land, betonline.net is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season, and it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage and information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Alex Frank here with you on this Tuesday, February 15th. I mentioned I was recording this. I'm recording this early Sunday afternoon, starting a new job. Started a new job Monday in Macon. Didn't necessarily want to come home at 11:30 with all my brain being wired from learning the job and recording this podcast, because you deserve the best. And that's why I'm recording this early Sunday afternoon for Tuesday. Don't worry, Monday's show was recorded rather a little more timely, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be the same. So, Cincinnati and Tulsa. Here's the thing. If the Bearcats would have won the game Sunday, you would have been 17-7 and 7-4 in AAC play. You would have been in a really good position. A really good position. Because then you go into the 3 games at home and you say, okay, we win 2 out of 3. We are okay. Now, if you win 2 out of 3, with the way your record is right now, the Bearcats are 16-8 and 6-5. If you win 2 out of 3, you're 18-9, and you're 8-6 in AAC play. Now, if you win all 3, then you're 19-8 and you're 9-5. Then you're looking okay. But this is such a bad loss. This is a game, like I've said, the path for the Bearcats to get to the NCAA tournament, beat every team you're supposed to beat, and maybe steal a game against a team you're not supposed to beat. But you lose to Tulsa. You have no business losing to them. You have no business losing on the road to Tulsa. I get it that not a lot of fans go to those games. I get it. It's a Saturday night at 7 o'clock. That cannot happen. You cannot afford, after beating this team by 21 points on your home field. This is just abysmal. How can we expect this team to be really good, competitive, a bubble team for the tournament, and they lose this kind of game? And it's funny because ever since they beat Tulsa, the last 5 games, which, by the way, their record is 2-3. They lose on the road at Temple. They beat ECU by 1 on the road. They lose at home to Houston by 22. They beat USF by 11 on the road. And then they lose to Tulsa on the road by 6. And they never led in the game. Like, you have to win this game. This is not Bearcats basketball. And, excuse me, for anyone that wants to go back to my point, that Bearcats Prime, their Instagram account, mentioned last week, that don't blame any of this on Wes Miller, John Brannon single-handedly ruined this program. That doesn't matter. That does not matter. It should not matter. This is still a good team. I look at this team and I see some talent. I see potential. And I see at least a team that should live up to Bearcats basketball expectations of the past. We're going to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. We may not beat the elite teams. We may struggle with them. We might drop a game here or there, but we're going to at least beat the teams we should beat. That comment in The Athletic about how these teams don't scar and scare people like they used to, it's spot on. They didn't scar or scare Tulsa last night. It's a game they win by 20 in years past. But when you don't have that alpha dog on your team, it is very, very. These games are more difficult. But the defense last night, or I'm sorry, the defense on Saturday night was atrocious. You can't let a team shoot 50% from the floor. This team is not good enough to overcome opposing teams shooting 50% from the floor and having one player dish out 10 assists, nearly having a triple-double. They're not good enough to overcome that. They're not good enough to overcome a double-digit halftime deficit. There's a very specific way this team wins. Unfortunately, that kind of team does not go far in the tournament. They don't. They may not even make the tournament. There's a specific way this team has to win. Get out to an early lead, play defense, sprinkle in some three-point shooting. That's how this team wins games. You can't give up 83 points on the road and win this game. John Brannon's teams could. This team cannot. So you want to tell me John Brannon ruined this program? There's validity to that. But that's not the case here. John Brannon's teams would have won this game. John Brannon's team would have won the game last night. Or Saturday night, sorry. My days are all mixed up. The Bearcats team's not good enough. Let's call it for what it is. They're not good enough. They can't even beat a 1-10 team in the conference on the road. How can we take this team seriously? We cannot. The only way this team is making the NCAA tournament is if they win the conference tournament. And quite frankly, I don't know if they will. And by the way, did you see what Memphis did over the weekend? Well, the Bearcats will see them tonight. But Memphis went into Houston and won by 10. That's a culture win if you're Memphis. Memphis cannot make the NCAA tournament without having to win the conference tournament. And the Bearcats play them tonight. Now, they did put up a good fight against them. Cincinnati did on the road back in early January. How will that compare tonight? I don't know. But this is the start of a crucial stretch. Now, the hope is maybe the Bearcats have not played their best basketball yet. And now you're hoping, okay, you want to play your best basketball going into the month of March. There's absolutely validity to that. When the Bearcats were really good in 2018, they were playing their best basketball going into the NCAA tournament. They had won 7 straight games going into the NCAA tournament. And they won their last 4 regular season games to win the regular season title outright. And they won 3 straight in the conference tournament. They were red hot. This team can still do that. They have 7 conference games to do it. You've got 3 this week, 2 next week, and then 2 the next week. To get to the conference tournament, top 5 seeds receive a first-round bye. But this team is simply not good enough to overcome their deficiencies. They're not good enough to overcome teams that shoot the ball really well. They're not good enough to, when they get behind by 11 in the first half, they're not good enough to overcome turnovers. This team has to share the basketball. This is not a good offensive team. It's not. They scored 77 points because they had to. Pad the stats. David DeJulius is an alpha dog that can lead this team. I want to think David DeJulius can be like any other point guard over the years that has taken their teams far into the month of March. A la Ryan Archidiacono, Joel Berry, excuse me, Russ Smith, Shabazz Napier, Ty Lawson. I want to think David DeJulius can do that. I'm not saying he's any of them. Or, I mean, look at, Kyle Guy in 2019. I want to say that David DeJulius can do that. Tyus Jones. That David DeJulius can be that guy. He's good enough. He's got 3 straight 20-point games. He's playing the best basketball of his career right now. And it's being wasted because the team around him is not good enough. And yeah, we've seen the Bearcats beat the number 14 team in the country by 20 and then go toe-to-toe with Arkansas, who's really good. Arkansas just beat Auburn last week. This team can be good enough. They just have to make plays. They just have to do the things right. There's very little margin for error. But I've seen teams like that have little margin for error still go far. I've seen it happen. If teams play to their strengths in any sport, like the Patriots when they won their last Super Bowl in 2018, they weren't as good as the Chiefs talent-wise, but they had a formula. Run the football, get out to a big lead, and force the other team to play from behind. And they did that. This team, these Bearcats have a formula to win. It's not an easy formula, but it can be done. More on this week. A huge week. Memphis tonight coming up here on Locked On Bearcats. But first, I have to tell you about Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for you to go to your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning? Is your Odyssey at LX or at EX? And wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry. You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. You can save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years, and prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we send you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Alex Frank here with you. Big matchup tonight for Bearcats men's basketball. It's against Memphis. This game was supposed to be played back on January the 3rd. February 3rd. Man, I am, let me tell you, there's a lot going on right now. I am, February 3rd. I messed up on my math too last week on one example. I tried to tell you how many days Selection Sunday was away. Yeah, I didn't really do a good job with that. It is currently, so today is February 15th. Selection Sunday is 26 days away. Got that right. I know I did. So Memphis is coming into tonight. And the one thing you know about Memphis in recent years is they have speed, they have athleticism, they're up-tempo, they can run the score. You look at Memphis, they're averaging 76.6 points a game. They've got 3 players scoring in double figures. They share the basketball. Jalen Duren, DeAndre Williams, Amani Bates, both over 10 points a game. They shoot the ball ridiculously well, 47%, 36%, or 35.9% from 3. That is 36% if you want to go there. They dish out a lot of assists, 352 assists, but they also turn the ball over a lot. This team can just as easily have a lot of assists as they have a lot of turnovers. Look at their assist to turnover ratios. Duren's got 22 assists to 39 turnovers. Williams has 26 assists to 34 turnovers. Bates has 23 assists to 42 turnovers. Even guys like Landers Nolly II, 56 assists to 39 turnovers. Lester Quinones, 38 assists to 38 turnovers. Alex Lomax, 59 assists to 40 turnovers. Earl Timberlake, 40 assists to 36 turnovers. This team does force a lot of steals. They can also block shots. Jalen Duren's a really good shot blocker. But you look at their field goal percentages. Tyler Harris, 46.3. DeAndre Williams, 58.3. Jalen Duren, 63.8. Josh Minot, 50.8. Lester Quinones, 43.2. This team is very efficient when they don't turn the ball over. You can force turnovers in this game. The Bearcats have some guys who can get steals. But this is going to be a track meet game, I have a feeling. A track meet game. And you saw it, and you've seen it that way the last 2 years. Memphis likes to get up and down the floor. And really, you kind of saw a glimpse of this in 2019 with Jeremiah Martin. They like to get up and down the floor, they like to jack up a lot of shots. They're going to try to make it a game the Bearcats don't want to play. John Brannon's teams could play like that. This team cannot. This team is going to have to set the tone and say, we're not afraid to make it our kind of game. But Memphis does have some really good rebounders. Jalen Duren, 7.9. DeAndre Williams, 5.5. Earl Timberlake, 4.1. Josh Minot, 4.3. I mean, this is a very, very good Memphis team in a lot of areas. But if you can force turnovers and you can make them play a grinded out kind of game, they don't have a Chua and Malcolm Dandridge and Lance Thomas or any other big men that they've had in years past that they've been able to use the luxuries of. James Wiseman. I mean, he's not there. He didn't really play a lot, but still. There is a way to beat this team. Make it your kind of game. Make it your kind of game. Grind it out, play defense, rebounding, timely shooting. This is a winnable game. But I think Memphis will win this game. I'll say right now 79-68. I think the Bearcats will score. I think the speed of the game is going to make the Bearcats score. I just don't see them winning this game. They have to win this game, though. Memphis is now back in the conversation to make the NCAA tournament. And I personally would like to see them in there. I want to see Penny Hardaway in the NCAA tournament. I want to see just how much of a factor they can be in the tournament. Memphis has not made the tournament in quite some time. And I've seen some good Memphis teams over the years. Memphis is a basketball school. And Penny Hardaway is in his 4th season as head coach. He's never been to the tournament. This is a team that was having some issues earlier this season. But they have quietly rebounded. They just beat Houston by 10. And you look and you run through their schedule. They're 14-8 right now. They're 8-4 in conference play. But look at the schedule and who they've played. Their losses. Versus Iowa State. Nothing wrong with that. At Georgia. At Ole Miss. They lose at Tulane. That's a bad loss. They lose at UCF. And they lose at ECU. Another bad loss. And SMU at home. They lost 3 straight games, but they've won 5 in a row since then. They won at Tulsa. Tulsa scored 81 in that game, though. They beat ECU. They beat UCF. They beat Tulane. They beat Houston. They've won their last 4 games, each by double digits, including at Houston. You beat Houston on the road. You have a very good program. You have a good team. So this is going to be a very interesting game tonight at Fifth Third Arena. It's a must-win game. You beat Memphis, you will feel that surge of momentum. And the best part about it, that is, you're not going to have to wait long to play the next game. It's day off the next day, and then get ready for Wichita State, who you've already beaten this season. And then you get 2 days off, and you get ready for Temple to come in on Sunday. And then all of a sudden, you're feeling like, okay, we've got something here. Win these next 3 games, you're 19-8, you're 9-5 in the conference. Now, the Bearcats are probably going to have to win the tournament, but you've seen Houston's beatable. And that's the thing about this loss. It's a missed opportunity. Houston losing. And the Bearcats could have won this game, would have been 7-4 in the conference. They could have, set themselves up to make some noise this week. Now they have to. Their margin for error is too slim to lose games to Tulsa. But if this team beats Memphis, yeah, there's going to be some excitement. The crowd's going to be into it. Memphis is always a big draw. Rivalry over the years. There's been some great games between the two teams in recent years. If there was any game where the fans were needed last year, it would have been Memphis. Bearcats, were hanging around for the entire game. They forced a couple steals in the last minute, got it to within, I want to say one possession, and then Memphis just kept making free throws. But, to disrupt their free throw shooting, that's a game the Bearcats could have used the fans in Fifth Third Arena. They'll get them tonight, though. And that's going to do it for me here on Locked On Bearcats. Excuse me. For Tuesday, February 15th of 2022, we'll be back tomorrow to recap the Memphis game, look ahead to Wichita State on Thursday. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Frankie_90 with two N's, NNATI. You can also follow me on Instagram, AlexFrank9_, and email me at alex3frank@gmail.com. That's Alex, the number 3, Frank, all lowercase at gmail.com. Thank you again for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Back tomorrow for Locked On Bearcats. I'm Alex Frank. Have a great rest of your day.